That was just about everything I thought it would be today. I used the definition rock fight, good MMA, very hard-fought win. Was concerned about this team. Rutgers is one of the best teams in the country. All you got to do is watch what they've done to Seton Hall and how they handled Wisconsin at home. The job Steve has done is unbelievable in terms of establishing a culture that is built on toughness and physicality, and those guys are good. That's a very, very good basketball team. I was concerned when you come off an emotional road win, and it snapped the streak. It was a big win for our program winning at Wisconsin, and kind of did it in an emotional style that you worry about the next step, and that's growing through those things, getting yourself back up to that level again, which I was concerned about, and I'm happy with the growth of our program when you shoot 29% and win. And they're not all going to be pretty, and it's a compliment to our players and our coaching staff, the job that we're doing defensively. I thought we got great production from our bench today. Andres was not real sharp in the first half, but Dre was incredible in the second. Kipper gave us 5 rebounds in the first half. That were huge because we got out rebounded the first half. Allen gives us 8 rebounds and had a very atypical shooting night for him, but the one he hit was huge. So overall, very pleased. It's been a big stretch here of 5 games in 12 days, and now we can heal a little bit and go to practice and work on getting better instead of game prep a little bit.
Questions for Coach?
Brad, in his 4th year, Steve finally has this Rutgers program back where they've wanted it to be. Can you talk about why, for fans who think it should be instantaneous, why it takes?
Yeah, because they don't know anything. I mean, let's be real. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. I mean, they don't. I get it. It's hard, kids don't change instantly, and you don't change a whole team every year. You have to build it, and you have to grow it, and you have to go through all the process of speed bumps and injuries and everything else to establish what you do off the court. But you look at what Steve did at his previous stops, and you know that there's a really good coach and what he stands for and the toughness and grit. So Rutgers isn't going anywhere. He's got a great staff. They do a great job recruiting, and they recruit his type of guys, and they've all got an edge about them, and that's no bottom feeder in the Big Ten anymore, and that's going to be a program that's going to be there for a while.
Right.
You guys were really sound in your defensive rotations, finally closing out on shooters. How much of that is guys buying into scouting reports? How much is that maturity as players?
All of the above. Jacob Young, I knew Jacob when he was at Texas, and in my previous stop saw him, but he got loose a couple times, but I thought we were really dialed in. McConnell is a terrific young guy, and I thought we did a very good job on him. Eboa got loose a little bit on the first half, got a couple threes, but we put a big box on the court around the lane, and we worked all the last 2 days on trying to keep them out of the box, and they're number 1 in the country, I think, in 2-point field goal percentage. And so it's guys paying attention to the scouting report, guys taking pride in it, and when you shoot 29%, you better find a way to win, and defense and rebounding's it, and that's why I was ecstatic in the locker room. I was a really happy basketball coach today that we could find a way to win a game like that.
The last 2 seasons,
the early part of Big Ten play was a struggle. To be in the position you are now, second behind Michigan State, what does that mean for this team moving forward with, like, it's still 2/3 of the Big Ten?
That's exactly why it means nothing. We have 2/3 of the season left. I mean, we've got 14 games. The next one that's on our schedule is going to be just as hard as this one. I guess, maybe you can say we haven't dug a hole, starting 0-2 in December. So we've given ourselves a fighting chance. But I don't look at standings, and somebody mentioned that earlier, and it's the next game, it's the next practice. You guys are going to hear me say that a bunch. There's no other way to look at it, and we're only as good as our next game and our next practice, and we're fighting and we're doing the right things, and at the end they'll tally them all up and we'll see where we're at.
Brad Kipper had 31 at the end of his sophomore year against Iowa. He's used primarily on the wing. We see him now on the post, the first guy off the bench. Just in the process and getting him into this new position, new role within the team, and where he's at.
Yeah, he's a senior. He wants to win. And his buy-in's been fat. I mean, how about his defensive block on Harper? Harper came in as one of the hottest players in the league, and his defensive attention to detail. He's a senior. He knows what we're doing. He's communicating much better. He's competing much harder. He had 5 rebounds at half, and that's a tribute to his character and who he is. He wants to win. He wants to be a part of it, and could be happier. Could not be happier.
Yeah, Brad, Georgie seemed to really struggle today. I think he was 3 of 13. He did have that big and one play, but what do you think's sort of gone into that? Was he maybe forcing some things on the offensive end today?
Well, I think the fact that he had career high against him last time maybe had them amped a little bit to guard him a little bit, but it's never as easy as it is the last time. His looks were, some of them were tough, but he also got 3 or 4 or 5 easy ones that I thought, if they go, and it was just one of those nights, and it was that way for kind of everybody. But we tried establishing him. We liked the matchup we had, and yet give Rutgers a lot of credit. They were physical and made things tough for him.
Yeah.
Brett, based on what you said today, if the MO of this program is they can win ugly, I would imagine you would be just fine with that. There's a whole bunch of people in this league that make careers out of winning ugly basketball games.
Absolutely. I understand an ugly win is much better than a pretty loss. When you look at the stat sheets it's why we play this, is to figure out ways to win, and like I said, we've been striving to win games when the ball doesn't go in. And you have to figure out how to do that. And the changes we made a year ago, or this off season, and we've been good at it.
Back to Kipper, how important has he been maybe just the last 2 games guarding bigger guards like Kobe King or Ron Harper, just to be a guy that can stop them?
Yeah, he's been great. He changed the dynamic of the Wisconsin game with Kobe King and throwing him on him, and he didn't get back down, and and then today, and what people won't realize is the situations they put Harper in. Kipper never missed a scouting report. He never missed a scouting report coverage. He forced him where he needed to force him, and took away his strength. And there's tremendous maturity and growth that goes with that. A lot of times you're saying, he's just out there guarding his guy. But he's doing it the right way. He's guarding the way we talked about for 2 days, and guarding him, and that's the maturity of a 5th-year senior.
Nico?
Brad, looking specifically at the last 2 minutes today and maybe the last 3-4 minutes against Wisconsin, what have you seen different from the guys, whether that be on the court or in the huddle during that final couple minutes?
Well, that's winning time, as we all call it, and a lot of it's just players making plays. Now we've executed, but that's a piece of it now. But you still have to be at this level. You still have to have guys go make plays and make shots. I mean, think about the shot Allen took. I mean, how many guys are going to take that knowing they're 0 for 8? But it's his shot, and he's not afraid. The pass came from Io. The plays Andres Felice made, we're just off a little blur screen, and then one in transition. Then he hands one off to Kofi for a dunk, and we drew up one out of a timeout that Georgie actually turned the wrong way on a little slip screen, but it was executed. It was open. But we're starting to execute. But as players making plays, and we can complicate things as much as we want, it helps to have guys that can go make plays.
In the back again.
I had a couple real quick update on Tevion. And what does a 3-game winning streak mean? I mean, it teaches the guys that their work is going to result in wins. I mean, there's got to be a confidence builder with 3 in a row like that.
Yeah, I think it's just it's to not sound really cliche, and I don't, but I mean, we literally just take it a day at a time. We try not to ever get too far ahead of ourselves. I think one of the things I try to work on very hard as a head coach is to keep a balance in terms of not letting them get too far ahead or too high or too emotional, or whatever, or think that this game's easy. And I think we're growing in that area. But yeah, I mean, there's confidence that comes from winning. Winning locker rooms are a lot of fun. I don't know anything about Tev other than he rolled his ankle, so I'll talk to our training staff after.
Brad, it seems like this team has done a lot in the past week. 3 wins in a row. Kofi said, nothing really has changed in terms of the feeling around the team. Do you think anything has changed? What do you make of that, and just the way these results have gone for you guys last week?
Well, I mean, maybe that means they're staying off social media, and maybe that means the students aren't here, so they're not. It's one of the, and it's a piece of it, But I do think that there's a real connectivity in our locker room to just staying focused on what's really important.
Derek? Coach, you really bothered some people defensively last year, but very up and down. How much does the consistency you have at that end give you a peace of mind as a coach?
A lot more, and now I've done it 2 different ways. We were so good at previous stops playing the other way, getting in people's. But again, it's always nice to know that you have a chance to stop the other team, and maybe that wasn't quite the case the past 2 years. We knew we could score, but we also felt like to maybe go on the road, Derek, we had to shoot 45-50% or better to have a good chance to win. This group's really buying into that end of it.
Anything else from the coach?
Have a great evening.
Thank you.